Hello, my guests. There's a lot of things to love about summer. I love swimming in the ocean and coming out and having a wet, juicy peach or slice of watermelon, letting the juice drip down my arms, my mouth, and thinking, it doesn't even matter. I'm gonna go into the ocean and wash it all off again. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good thing about summer. Summer is kind of just the season where you can excuse yourself to go on a bender every day. Oh, it's really hot outside. There's nothing to do. What? Should we day drink? Wait, I'm getting a call. Oh my, is that beer? I think beer is calling me, guys. Let's go drink every single day. Everyone's talking about how it's Euro summer right now. Oh, it's Euro summer, Euro summer. Yeah, listen, if you don't have a glass of sangria and a cigarette in the other hand, you're not doing Euro summer properly. I'm gonna be making cigarette cake. Maybe this is too niche. I saw this post on Instagram, originally from Tumblr by the user Circle, for a really wide cigarette cake. It's like someone made this on Tomodachi Life, and then this person was like, okay, so this would be my vision for the cigarette cake. 37,000 notes, they just made it up themselves, and I want to recreate it. I don't know what I did with my lips today. I was being silly, and now it kind of looks like I just have a really tiny mouth. My name is Velvet, and I'll be your clown for today. We're gonna be making one really wide cigarette. Let's go. So this is a layered cake. We've got multiple layers going on here. It starts with a spice cake on the bottom, acting as the filter. Then we've got a layer of caramel ganache, a layer of white cake, a layer of pastry cream with Oreo bits, chocolate ganache, and Biscoff crumbles on top. It sounds pretty good. I've already gone ahead and made 2 of the cakes. Look at this, we've got actual measuring cups now. So now we're just gonna be putting everything together. Okay, what am I doing? Come on, let's make this. Okay, here's the spice cake. I did not make this. I bought this from the store. And I'm gonna be doing everything in this mold, so I'm gonna just line it up and cut it to the size I need. This is a vanilla cake that I already baked. We need this layer to be thicker than the filter layer, so I'm gonna shave off the dome from this cake. Big reveal for that crumb. Ooh, that's a lovely cake. Hang on, just gotta. Overbaked. We need to trim quite a significant amount from the spice cake. Luckily, it's incredibly dry, so that's easy to do. Hey, wonderful, look at that. We've got our first cigarette layer. Okay, those are the cakes ready. Now, we need to get on to all the fillings. I don't want to get onto all the fillings. Okay, so in terms of making the sauces, I think I'm gonna start with the caramel ganache. I couldn't really find a recipe for caramel ganache, so I'm just gonna do a thick caramel layer. And I found this really weird recipe. I've never seen a caramel made like this before. It's by Chef Janet K. And she makes this caramel sauce by mixing caramel with like a roux. With a roux. Not that kind of roux. With a flour roux. So we're gonna try it out because I don't want it to leak out of the cake. I want it to be a thick layer. Okay, so to make the roux, we've got a pot here heating up, and we're gonna add a tablespoon and a half of butter because I'm doing half the recipe right now. Okay, now that the butter is melted, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of flour and mix vigorously. I'm actually using margarine right now, so it's not gonna taste as good. And margarine also has a lot of water, so I might have to boil it down for a bit more for it to thicken up. Okay, my roux is done. I'm gonna keep this on the side. Okay, now we need to make the caramel. So in this pot I've got like a tablespoon of water, and then I have a 1/4 cup of sugar. Yeah, a 1/4 cup of sugar. And you're just gonna let this melt on its own. Just let it chill, alright? Another important part of summer is starting new hobbies that you have the time for. So I have an ocarina now.
Chinese baby,
I'm gonna be so annoying now. Okay, our caramel is darkening up. I'm just gonna lower the heat, take some cubed butter, and stir it in. Oh my god, this looks amazing. Look at that texture. Wow. I'm also gonna add a pinch of salt And then here I've got some heavy cream with vanilla. We can add the roux back in. It said we should place it back on the heat, but it's honestly already thickening up so much from the residual heat. This could be famous last words, but I feel like this is quite thick. I'm very suspicious about this caramel. Look at that. I don't want to jinx this, but look at that. Nothing is happening. It's definitely not going to be runny. It's more like a toffee. Good thing I'm making the ganache to mix it in with, because this is not going to spread like cream. And my countertop already looks like this. Great. Great. Completely off topic, but I was in the Netherlands last weekend, and in the Netherlands, most of the toilets have like these poop shelves. They're big. They're poop shelves. I don't know how else to explain them. But because of the poop shelf, you can really inspect your poop after it comes out. And I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I feel kind of paternal towards my poop. I love the poop shelf. I love looking down and admiring my work. And I'm like, wow, I made that. This is too much information for YouTube. Let's make chocolate ganache. So chocolate ganaches are a 1-to-1 ratio. So for every 100 grams of chocolate that we have, we're gonna add 100 grams of heavy cream. So we've got our chopped up white chocolate. I've got 100 grams of heavy cream, which I'm gonna put into my pot and heat it up. And then I'm gonna do the same for the dark chocolate. The heavy cream is now simmering, so I'm just gonna pour it on top of the white chocolate. Once you've poured the hot cream on top of the chocolate, just let it sit there and the residual heat of the cream is gonna melt it. I, for one, am not actually a smoker, so I don't wanna feel like I'm appropriating smoker culture right now. The only times in my life when I've smoked cigarettes is when I was 14 and I wanted to be edgy, and I stole them from my dad, and I would smoke them behind the house, and then one time I smoked one and I got a panic attack, and I was like, I'm never smoking again! Then when I went to university, I'd have the occasional drunk cigarette, like everyone. Oh, but I do have a cigarette story. I'm gonna sit down for this one. I do have a cigarette story. I lived in some bad student housing in my years. I moved into this one place that was shared with 3 other guys that were around my age. The guy in the room right next to me was a 40-year-old chain smoker who worked at a pizza restaurant. And then there was one tiny 2x2 room that had gym equipment and was only used by a guy sometimes. So all of these housemates that were my age, they were not there when I moved in. They were all in India. And when they came back eventually, we had a little dinner to meet each other. I had a bottle of wine, and then one of the guys goes and is like, so, are we gonna go? I was like, go where? It's like, oh, let's go clubbing. At this point, it was a social experiment for me. I was already drunk. I had never hung out with guys like this before. So I just said, yeah, let's go. I'm down. I mentioned the India thing because they came back with India with tons and tons of cigarettes, and they kept heralding them as these Indian cigarettes. Of course, you know, exoticizing them the same way that people do with Chinese cigarettes. He's bringing like 3 packs of cigarettes to the club. The club, by the way, is the like dingiest student club in the city. Free entrance, so that's a first warning sign. It's a free entrance club. The only music they were playing were 2000s bangers. And then what made it worse is that after being there for 30 minutes, one of the roommates threw up on the floor right in front of me. So then we had to go. But you know, after we left and we were waiting outside in the cold, they just kept handing out cigarettes. They just kept handing out these Indian cigarettes. And because I don't smoke, the effect of nicotine, the cream. The effect of the nicotine was so strong. I really felt high the whole time. Like, the nicotine is the only upper I've ever done. But that's the story of the last time I smoked actual cigarettes, which was around 4 in one night. Thank you to those roommates for donating them to me. And the thing about this roommate, the thing about this housemate that would give me these cigarettes, is that he was a real geezer. He was a real degenerate, let's say. I had the only access to the balcony in this house. But you could also access the balcony by crawling through the kitchen window. And on the night when we went out and partied, he asked me, hey, the previous roommate let me crawl through the kitchen window to go smoke on the balcony. Is that fine with you? Yes! Yes, it's fine! Yeah! What the f*** am I meant to say?
Like, after you suggest something so deranged, how can I say no? I was also drunk, so I was like, yeah, sure. So then throughout that whole year whilst I was living there, he would, oh my god. There were shoe marks left on the kitchen sink from when he would climb through this window. One time he was jerking off on my balcony. Okay, that's enough demented stories. The ganaches are done, and they're chilling. So we'll leave them sit and get back to them in a bit. Okay, everything's had its time to chill. Now we just gotta put our cigarette together. I've got this baking dish that I've lined with plastic wrap, so it'll be easy to remove. Now let me consult my diagram. Okay, I know that the first layer needs to be the spice cake. So the spice cake is going down first. Huh, splendid. Then we need to make the caramel ganache. So we've got the caramel, as I showed you earlier. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna whip up the white chocolate ganache a bit so that it's a bit fluffy. Woo. Then I'm gonna add the caramel to it. It's thickened up very interestingly. I'm hoping this combines. Okay, I managed to mix it together. It's a little bit clumpy, but it honestly tastes kind of weird, but I don't know if that's my fault. But we've got the ganache, so let's layer that in on top of the spice cake and spread it out. Okay, then on top of our caramel layer, we're gonna place the vanilla cake. I feel like I need to make a mold for this because it's smaller than my actual cake mold. Let's see. Maybe I'll stick some cardboard in there. This whisk is covered. I just want to go like, ah. Now we need to do the pastry cream. Here's a pastry cream I made earlier. I'm just gonna mix in a little bit of the chocolate ganache into here. Ooh, she's jelly. She's thick. That's why you always want to whisk it up a little bit before you use it. So we need half of it to be plain, and then half of it is gonna have cookie crumbs. So add a bit of the white ganache in there. Gotta mix it up. Mix it until it's smooth. I managed to find some cardboard to put in between, so we're gonna use that to make sure that the cake stays in shape. And I'm gonna do the pastry cream. Just spread that out. And now we need to do a layer of pastry cream with Oreo bits. I couldn't find store-brand Oreos, and I don't want to use stuff from evil companies, so I got store-brand chocolate chip cookies. So instead of Oreos, we're gonna do chocolate chip cookies. I really tried to keep this recipe as identical to this person's post, but I had to make just that one little change. So there's the pastry cream, and then some store-brand cookies. I'm just gonna crumble them in. I hope it still has that ashy look, that burnt cigarette look that we're going for. Oh, I think that looks pretty good. I think that looks like a filthy cigarette that's been burning. On top of the white pastry cream layer, she goes. Oh. Great. Okay, then we've got chocolate ganache. She's back here, she's rested. I'm just gonna pour it on top. Try and get a nice, even layer. Oh my god, it's overflowing. Oh, it's too much. Sorry, I don't need to be freaky like that. Okay, chocolate ganache is on. The final layer is crumbled Biscoff. Oh my god, it looks like the top of a cigarette. Maybe I'm crazy. Okay, we're done. We did it. Here it is. Cigarette cake is ready to go in the fridge. Boyfriend needs me to go pick him up from the train station in 15 minutes. I'm telling him he's got to get home himself. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. Let's see what this thing looks like. Ugh. Let's cut a piece out of this. Take the cardboard off. Okay, the cream is still a bit sensitive. Let's try pulling it out. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, okay, okay. It definitely still needs a bit of time, and also the cardboard mold didn't do anything to help. Alright, here we go. Let me take this back a little bit. And let's try and get a nice slice of this cigarette. Ooh, ooh, oh, oh, oh. Oh, that looks great. That looks amazing. Yeah, my attempt to mold it didn't entirely work. It's okay. I'm fixing it retroactively. Okay, let's try and get a nice, clean slice. Okay, 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 okay. Don't fall. Don't fall. Ah! It fell! Oh man. Here's the whole cake in its glory. As you can see, we've got the spice cake, the caramel layer, the white cake, the custard, the ganache. Looks pretty bad right now. All that really matters now is to see if this Tumblr user was onto something with this cigarette cake. I think this looks great. I think it looks just like the photo, at least here on my plate. Let's get a nice slice with every layer in it. Bon appetit. Mmm. That's perfect. I've gotta say, good job, Tumblr user. I thought that there would be too much cake, that it would be a little bit off balance, that it would be too dry, but it's actually just right. For a cake, not for a pastry, but for a cake, it's just right. The caramel is not too strong. It pairs with the lightness of the vanilla cream. I kind of wish I had, I'm not a cigarette smoker. I kind of wish I had a cigarette smoker nearby so that I could make them taste this and ask them, is this as good as a cigarette? And I guess they'd probably say, oh, this sucks. Oh, it sucks. I need a real cigarette. Give me another cigarette. I'm sorry, I don't mean that, cigarette. Can you tell that I'm not a cigarette smoker? I don't want to make fun of addiction. I'm gonna try and cut this up and get nicer shots of it. It tastes really good though. Okay, I'm gonna enjoy eating this on the side. Until now, let's all give a round of applause for this Tumblr user for coming up with this idea. Great job. You get a gold sticker. I hope you enjoyed clowning with me today. Let me know if you end up making the cigarette cake down below. Post a photo of it if you do. I think that would be kind of crazy. One more view of the really wide cigarette. The really wide cigarette cake. I think from far away, it looks exactly like the photo. Also, it's crazy how... Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Why did I try to do that? Why did I try to do that? If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more clownery in the kitchen, oh my god, well, look at the name of my channel. This is the exact place for you. So subscribe so that you can see more in the future. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and comment down below what you thought. If you would change the layers and adapt the flavors, how would you make the cigarette cake? Let me know down below. If you like my looks, you can follow me on Instagram where I post everything. Besides that, all I have to say is see you next week. Until then, bye!